Every morning you awaken, you stand at the threshold between who you are and who you can become. The sun does not rise by permission, nor does it wait for approval. It simply rises, and so must you. The truth is, you are not behind in life. You're simply waiting for yourself. And while the world spins on with noise, chaos, and distraction, there's a quiet voice inside you that knows the way. But it can only speak when you choose to listen, with courage. This is your wake-up call. No more excuses, no more waiting, no more bargaining with time. Today, we begin. Inside every human psyche lives a quiet figure, unseen but deeply felt. It rarely shouts, never forces, but it lingers like a mist that clouds your first thoughts each morning. It is the inner saboteur, the voice that speaks in familiar phrases. Just 5 more minutes. It's not a big deal today. You'll do better tomorrow. It's comforting, reasonable even. And that is precisely why it is dangerous. This voice does not scream rebellion. It whispers surrender. These whispers are not harmless. They are remnants of the past, old fears, deep insecurities, learned helplessness. They are the unconscious shadows, and they thrive in the early morning hours when our defenses are weakest. This is when the battle begins, not out in the world, but within. You see, we often think the obstacles we face are external. Lack of time, difficult people, bad circumstances. But the true struggle is far more personal, the battle between the self we are and the self we're afraid to become. The tragedy is not in hearing the voice. Everyone hears it. The tragedy is in mistaking it for truth. When you hit the snooze button, when you turn over and retreat into the comfort of your bed, you are not just delaying your morning, you are surrendering your agency. And with every surrender, that saboteur grows stronger, more convincing. Until one day, you no longer need excuses. You become the excuse. Consider the story of a young athlete who had dreams of standing on the national stage. He trained hard, had the raw talent, the potential. But at 5 a.m., when his alarm rang, he chose comfort. Not once, but repeatedly. And each time, he told himself it didn't matter. That missing one morning wouldn't make a difference. But the truth is, every time he chose comfort over effort, the shadow claimed a small victory. Years later, he didn't regret the loss of a medal. He regretted never giving himself a real chance. He lost not to his opponents, but to himself. And that is a loss we all carry in some form when we let the shadow guide us. We all have this shadow. It wears many masks: fear of failure, fear of judgment, even fear of success. And unless you name it, it controls you. But once you see it clearly, when you hear that whisper and say, "I know you," something shifts. You no longer obey it. You face it. And in that confrontation, you reclaim your power. Every morning, you are presented with the same choice. Will you let the voice decide? Or will you stand up, not because it's easy, but because you must? Mastery over life begins not in some grand gesture, but in the quiet defiance of that first internal battle. Wake up, name the shadow, and rise, not without fear, but in spite of it. That is the beginning of everything. Discipline has been misunderstood by many. It is often reduced to a grim word, a form of restriction or self-denial, a heavy chain wrapped around joy. But in truth, discipline is not about punishment. It is not about depriving yourself of freedom. Real discipline is devotion. It is the silent agreement between who you are and who you are destined to become. It is the act of showing up, not to impress others or tick off a box, but because something deep within you knows your future self is worth the effort. Every choice you make is a message to the person you will be tomorrow. Will that person be proud of you? Will they thank you for what you did today? Or will they be left to pick up the pieces of a moment lost to laziness, distraction, or fear? Discipline is not about force, it is about reverence. It is about recognizing that each day is a sacred opportunity, and to treat that opportunity with care is an act of spiritual alignment. The body may wake, but the soul awakens through intention. Modern science supports what ancient wisdom already knew. Studies in neuroplasticity reveal that when we begin our mornings with purposeful habits, whether it's meditation, exercise, journaling, or silence, we literally reshape the brain. New pathways form. Emotional regulation improves. We become not just more productive, but more centered, more whole. The morning then becomes not just a beginning, but a rebirth. Consider the lives of monks who rise before dawn, not for the sake of performance, but to honor the sacredness of the early hours. When the world is still, when the distractions are quiet, they step into presence. Their morning is not filled with busyness, but with awareness. They do not wake up because it is easy. In fact, it is often difficult. But they do it because they remember that time is not a guarantee. Life is not a burden to carry, but a gift to be cherished. The way we enter the day shapes the way the day unfolds. And so, when you rise with purpose, even when your eyes are tired, even when your bed calls you back, you are sending a message to the universe. I am not asleep to my own life. You are refusing to live on autopilot. You are choosing consciousness over comfort, alignment over convenience. That act is more than habit. It is holy. Too often we wait for motivation to strike, as if we are powerless without it. But motivation is fleeting. Discipline is constant. Discipline says, even if I don't feel like it, I will still do it. Not because I must, but because I know who I want to become. In that knowing, there is peace. In that devotion, there is freedom. And in that freedom, there is transformation. This is how you begin to design your life, not with grand gestures, but with small, sacred acts of commitment repeated each morning. Not for the world to see, but for the soul to grow. The morning is not merely the start of a new day. It is a quiet reckoning, a moment of truth. In those first few minutes after waking, you are not just brushing your teeth or pouring coffee. You are meeting yourself. Before the noise of the world intrudes, before expectations are placed upon you, before you are pulled into tasks and timelines, there is a moment of profound freedom. In that space, you decide who you are, and that decision shapes everything that follows. Each morning is a mirror. It reflects not what you say you value, but what you truly live by. When the alarm goes off, do you rise with intention, or do you reach for the nearest escape? Your phone, your feed, the warm blanket of procrastination. It may seem small, but it is not. These early choices are not neutral. They are loaded with meaning. They are signals to your mind and spirit. They whisper truths that your goals matter or they don't, that your word to yourself holds weight or it doesn't, that you are here to grow or simply to repeat. We live in a culture where identity is often mistaken for performance or appearance, but real identity is forged in the quiet hours when no one is watching, when nothing is demanded of you. That is where self-respect is either strengthened or broken. The moment you choose discipline over distraction, even in something as simple as making your bed or breathing in silence before the world begins, you are telling yourself, I am someone worth showing up for. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present, about choosing not what is easy, but what is aligned. Those who rise early with purpose, Navy SEALs, CEOs, Olympic athletes, do not do so because they are superhuman. They do it because they understand something most people miss, that identity is not fixed. It is a living force, sculpted by daily choices. And the earlier in the day you claim that power, the more control you have over its direction. Imagine a person who wants to become strong, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually. Strength does not arrive overnight. It emerges when they choose to show up on the days they don't feel like it. It grows each time they choose stillness over scrolling, movement over stagnation, intention over impulse. Over time, these choices compound, and eventually, what once felt like effort becomes second nature. A new identity emerges, not borrowed from others, but earned through practice. Consistency is not a trait you are born with. It is a decision you make when it's hardest. If you want to be dependable with yourself. If you want clarity, start the day without noise. If you want to grow, begin each morning by planting the seeds of integrity. The world will always ask you to hurry, to distract, to numb. But your mornings belong to you. Guard them, shape them, because in doing so, you shape the very essence of who you are becoming. There is a quiet illusion many carry, the belief that someone, somewhere, will arrive to set everything right. We wait for the mentor who will guide us, the perfect opportunity that will align just right, the burst of motivation that will finally push us forward. But the raw, unsettling truth is this: no one is coming. Not the partner who understands you completely. Not the teacher with all the answers. Not even the version of yourself you've imagined, arriving out of thin air with clarity and strength. That person must be built, not found. And you are the one who must build them. From the time we are children, we are taught to ask for permission, to raise our hands, to wait for instruction, to seek approval. That programming does not disappear as we age. It mutates. We wait for the right mood, the right time, the right feeling. But life does not bend to readiness. It responds only to action. If you are always waiting, you are always losing. The people who change their lives are not those who feel prepared, but those who act regardless. There is a power within you that lies dormant, not because it is missing, but because it has been handed over to external forces. Every time you delay your growth for comfort, every time you hit snooze on your life, whether literally or metaphorically, you reinforce the story that you are not enough without help. But the truth is, you are more capable than you have allowed yourself to believe. You do not need perfect conditions. You need a shift in ownership. Psychologist Angela Duckworth's work on grit reveals something essential: that success rarely favors the most talented or the most intelligent. It favors the persistent, the ones who get up again, the ones who endure. And this grit, this unwavering dedication to becoming, does not shout or demand attention. It is built in silence, in those ordinary mornings when no one is watching. It grows when you choose discipline over delay, when you stop waiting and start building. There is a haunting image that lives in the minds of those who have lived without waking up to themselves. Imagine standing at the end of your life and meeting the person you could have become, the version of you who followed through, who rose early, who spoke truth, who didn't wait. Imagine looking into their eyes and realizing you never met them. Not because they were out of reach, but because you never gave yourself the chance to rise. Comfort may feel like a gift, but often it is the thief of potential dressed in softness. It keeps you warm, but it keeps you small. It feels safe, but it delays transformation. No one can give you the life you want. It must be claimed, owned, created. The world will offer you 1,000 excuses to stay the same. But today, this morning, you are offered a choice. Take the reins. Become responsible for your own fire. Because if you do not, no one else will. There is a subtle trap hidden in the rhythm of modern life. It is the confusion between motion and meaning, between activity and purpose. We rise, we check our phones, we rush through breakfast, and we plunge headfirst into a sea of tasks, emails, errands, appointments. We tell ourselves we are being productive, that we are accomplishing, moving, doing. But deep down, there is a quiet ache, a hollowness. Because despite all the motion, we have not truly moved. Despite being busy, we may not feel alive. You are not here merely to perform. You are not a machine designed to complete endless checklists. You are a soul in motion, a living expression of something far deeper than deadlines or digital calendars. And the way you begin your morning will either root you in that truth or pull you away from it. Before you write a to-do list, pause and ask yourself, who do I wish to be today? Not what must I achieve, but what will I stand for? Will I move through the day with compassion or with judgment? Will I speak to myself with kindness or criticism? Will I serve or simply strive? These are not idle questions. They are doorways. And the morning is the key. Viktor Frankl, who survived unimaginable suffering, discovered something powerful, that those who had a why could endure almost any how. Meaning gave them the strength to persist, even in the darkest circumstances. That same truth applies to you in this quiet morning moment. Your body may wake up, but if your purpose does not, you will move like a ghost through your day, present in form, absent in essence. Meaning does not shout. It waits patiently for you to listen. It can be found in breath, in silence, in the gentle act of placing your hand over your heart and asking, what matters most right now? Even 2 minutes of stillness in the morning can create a shift. When you start your day with clarity, not of tasks, but of intention, you align with something more powerful than any external motivation. You return to yourself. This is not a rejection of discipline or productivity, but a reshaping of it. Let your structure serve your spirit, not silence it. Build a ritual that grounds you, whether it's sitting in the quiet with your coffee, journaling your hopes, stepping outside to breathe in the morning air. Let that ritual be your root, not your routine. Because the deeper the root, the stronger the growth. To become more, you must remember that becoming is not just about action, it is about awareness. It is not how much you do, but how deeply you connect with what you do. Start your morning by choosing presence over pressure. Let your why rise before your feet touch the floor. And when you move into the world, do not ask only, what do I need to do? Ask, who do I wish to be? In that question lies the power to transform not just your day, but your life. So tomorrow morning, when your alarm rings, pause and remember this: you are not your past, you are not your excuses. You are the architect of the life you've only dreamed of, but only if you choose to act like it. No more waiting, no more negotiating, no more excuses. The world needs your fire, your voice, your brilliance. Listen every morning, answer the call, become who you were meant to be.